Hi everyone, it's Michelle here, and I thought I would come on and give an update on where we are regarding the funding journey. I seem to be kind of half in the dark, half in the dark, half in the light. Let me see if I can maybe shift my camera a little bit. Okay, there we go. Thank you very much for watching this video. Just as a brief reminder, my name is Michelle Caira and I am the CEO and founder of a company called Fitmama Fitness, and I am documenting through video diaries my fundraise journey. And I thought I would give a little update because it's been a few months since I gave an update, so I thought I'd give an update and let you know where we are and what's happening. First up, the brightest bit of news is that in early September, I applied to All Raise, which is a female kind of collaboration of investors, VCs, and startup founders, all female, and they had a cohort for a seed bootcamp, so a seed fundraise round and a bootcamp, and I applied to join that cohort, and I was absolutely thrilled to be accepted onto that bootcamp. Now it's 5 sessions every Tuesday. The first Tuesday was on the 6th of October. And it runs every Tuesday, and it is Pacific time, 4 p.m, Eastern, 7 p.m, and I'm in Europe at the moment, so it was 1 a.m. for me. So it was a two-hour, almost like a panel-based webinar. I'll go into that detail in a second, but basically, for the September, I was welcomed and I was accepted onto this cohort, which was absolutely fantastic. I was absolutely thrilled about that. And it's a seed bootcamp, so it's a perfect round for me. Second thing is been keeping really on top of what is going on in the fitness industry, in the Fem-Tech industry, and also in a women's world. Okay, so we are in a position of COVID, and globally we are still in this position. So we kicked off COVID, everyone was really confined, and stay in place mandatory kind of state notices were issued out in mid-March. A lot of that has eased off, whether you be in North America or in Europe. However, as it stands when I'm doing this video, which is the 10th of October, we are potentially seeing a second wave, or maybe the first wave hasn't finished. And in that last 6 months, so March to now, what we are seeing is an absolutely catastrophic impact on women at work, who are mothers, which is my key target demographic. And what we are seeing through reports, statistics, data, anecdotal feedback is that women who work, who are mothers, are being pretty much annihilated. And that is because in many countries, including the US, which is their target geolocation, that's our first primary target geolocation. When we look at women there who are at work and have children, the children are not back at school or kindergarten yet. So what is happening is, in a household where it's a stereotypical heterosexual couple, man, women, children, it seems to be across the board that the women of the house, the mother, is picking up all of the slack, and the mother is the one who's organizing Zoom sessions with the kids, making sure they've got their schoolwork done, blah blah blah. And it's coming to the point, you know, you've got really small kids at the age of 4 and 5 years old who are expected to go on Zoom meetings with their teachers. I mean, everyone's trying their best. There's no criticism on this point at all. But what's happening is women at home are saying, hang on a sec, this cannot continue. What do I need to do? And this crazy report came out last week, which basically said that in the month of September in the US, there was something like 1.1 million people dropped out of employment, I think through choice. I didn't read that detail, but let's say it's through choice, and 800,000, circa 800,000 of that number were women who are mothers, because they were literally put in the position of saying, do I want to work? Do I want to look after my child? Can I work? Can I look after my child? How is this going to progress? And because there's no end in sight to when we are going to return to any form of the new normality, women are just simply saying, okay, enough's enough. I cannot do this any longer, and something has to give. And what's happening is their workplace is dropping. They are dropping their work. And this is my target geolocation in the US and target demographic for mothers who work. So basically, I cannot think of a better time for Fitmama to be out there in the marketplace. I cannot even think of a better time. So that's the first thing. Second thing is a report came out from PitchBook. Again, devastating. Devastating. They are saying in PitchBook that in the last quarter, the number of female founders raising VC money is worse than 2017. So basically, we are now getting less money for female founded businesses. Mixed founded businesses, so where there's maybe a mixed team of founders, mixed as in sex, gender, those teams are getting money, but it's male founded teams only. Now, I have went into a female, I'm in a Slack workspace with female founders, and I actually put the question to them. It's not because I'm stupid and I have no idea of what the answer is. I wanted to actually put out there and say, why are we not getting funding? Why is that happening? I don't really understand this point. Why is it we're not getting funding? And really, my own conclusion to that would be, there's lots of different answers that came out, you would expect, but my answer to it is pretty basic. And my answer is just simply, I think female founders are going elsewhere for funding. I think they're doing a friends and family round, whether they're literally friends and family or they're just people they know, small checks. So I think they're doing a friends and family round. I think they're doing business angels, and I think they're actually using revenue to pump the revenue straight back into their companies and to develop and to grow their companies that way. I honestly think that's how it is, because I think we've just looked and thought, what's the point of us even cold emailing VCs? We're going to get absolutely nowhere. So I think that could be it, but I don't actually know the correct answer. Okay, so so we've got the All Raise Seed Bootcamp that I'm now on, this cohort. We've now got reports out about mums really struggling in life, and I think Fitmama, the product, the service, is absolutely perfect for that. We've then got VC funding reports out saying that we are getting less and less money, and numbers are actually at record low. The next bit is, what am I doing? So we have had a board meeting on Thursday for Fitmama, Thursday evening, and we are striving ahead. Everything is going ahead in terms of our funding. There is no better time than to go out for funding. So we are in October now. I have got the okay from the board to now go ahead and go for it, and that's the next step. So let me take you back and review all of these things, and I will put below in the comment box the links to all of these different things I'm discussing, so that you can actually see what the chat is. So back to the All Raise Seed Bootcamp. So basically this is a 5-week bootcamp. It's one evening per week, and you're also in a Slack group with everybody else that's on the cohort with you. It's all female founders, and it is absolutely thrilling, and for a number of reasons. Number one, I didn't find that the first bootcamp session, which was 1 a.m. till 3 a.m. on Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't find that gave me anything new that I didn't know before. But it was really interesting to hear from the panel. There was 5 people on the panel. There were 5 people on the panel, sorry. And the panel were really good at explaining exactly what's going down right now, because they're in the thick of it. One of them had just raised money, one of them is a VC, the other one's an investor, you know, so you were able to get what is happening right now. And the biggest takeaways that I got, first of all, it's taken around 6 months to finalize from start to finish and do your raise. So if you're going for pre-seed or seed funding, which is your first round of funding to get your business to the next stage, make sure that you are actually taking enough money to get you to your next round raise if you need to do another round, because at the moment it's taken around 6 months from start to finish, just because A, COVID, and B, people are really watching where they're investing at the moment, purely because they don't know how the markets are going. They don't know how things are going to be 6-7 months down the line. So unless you've got an absolute foolproof product that you know has high revenue or locked in contracts already, where an investor can see, I know where the return is coming, I know where the profit is coming, I know what we're doing here. Unless you've got that, investors are being a little bit more cautious of the due diligence they're doing, and also what is the market doing. The US has an election next month. That obviously is coming into play as well, because a lot of American investors are trying to suss out how the market's going to play out as well. So that was one of the main feedback and takeaways I took. Second takeaway I took was the difference in what you are offering in terms of pricing your round and putting a cap on your round. And one of the main vehicles for exchanging an investment from someone and giving them something in return, like a piece of equity, a piece of the pie of your business, are under what's called safes. So these are very simple documents, and they're basically a promise to pay type document, where you would have a legal document between person A who wants to invest in business. You take the money from that person in exchange for this legal document called a SAFE, S-A-F-E, and I'll link that below. It's from Y-Combinator. They basically created this, and it's a very quick way in order for brand new startups, not brand new, sorry, first round startups to get money in and to get a legal document out. And there's nothing, usually there's nothing on that document that prices the round. So it means then you're not saying, okay, I'm going to give 20% of equity for 250,000 raise, and I'm going to get that 250,000 from 6 different investors, and they will all get a slice of the 20%. You're not actually doing that arithmetic and cutting up of the pie. You're basically saying, we're not pricing this round at this particular moment in time. We're going to give you equity in the property, equity in the business, but we don't know how much yet. We're going to see how we close the round. So I thought that was quite sensible, and I thought that was quite interesting, because actually when I created an investors club, which is a crowd equity fundraise, I had penciled that in as an option for us to raise funding, and that would be basically tiny small checks, sub 5k, coming in from a variety of different people, pulling that all together under an investors club, getting one nominated representative from that investors club to then speak on behalf of the total club. And that would then allow some of my clients who maybe are interested, they've been training with me, they've been working with me, they know who I am for years, maybe they're interested in helping me out and investing in Fitmama and investing in me, but they don't have, 50k, they might have 5k that they're willing to put into the pot. And so an investors club was created by me, which is a concept was created by me, which is basically a crowd equity fundraise option. But I think I've priced it too high, because I've done 250k to raise that money for 20% of the business. And actually, I think that's totally misaligned. The problem you've got as a startup is you're trying to value your business. So you're trying to do, what is the pre-money valuation of the business and what's the post-valuation, just so you can actually put price to things. So with 50k, this is how much you're buying from the company. And it's really tough to do that, because when you're in startup, and even though we're post-revenue now, but we're not making, we're not sitting the heather alight, as we would say in Scotland, but we are regarded as post-revenue because we do have revenue. So it's really tough, because you don't want to value your company too low, too high. And there's also this little imposter syndrome where you pitch up and you might be thinking, yeah, I've valued my company at 1.2 mil. And, potential investors looking, going, on what? What have you valued that on? It's not like you've got 500 customers all paying every month. You don't have a subscription, monthly revenue here. So what's going on with this? So it's really tough to try and balance out at this particular point. What's my company valued at? What is it worth? And what price can we give? So SAFEs, these documents, these legal documents, seem to be a really good way of saying, I'm going to give you a percentage of my business in exchange for your money. I just don't know what percentage I'm giving you yet, but I need that money to get us to the next stage, and it would be great if you continue to invest, that kind of thing. So that was a really good takeaway from the bootcamp as well. Really good, strong people in there in terms of fellow founders, and I have to say some of them are way ahead and they've already done a seed round and they're looking for the next, or they're doing 2 seed rounds. They've done their seed round but they need a little bit more to take them to the next stage. So that was really interesting to meet some people. A lot of them are US based, Boston, New York. I didn't see many from LA, but the Boston, New York bit is really interesting for me, because to build out our product and then to have perhaps a US-based office, it's highly likely to be somewhere like Boston or New York. So for me, that was really good to actually meet people virtually from there. So that was excellent. Great session, thoroughly enjoyed it, and a 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Time slot. You do what you have to do. So yeah, I'm all in on that. That's really good. Thursday went into my board meeting with my board members, my board team, who have been on board for the last couple of years. And it was really, really encouraging to bring them up to speed and say, okay, well, here's what's been worked on so far. So what has been worked on, pitch deck has been finely tuned yet again. I am not a lover of pitch decks, and I wrote an article about pitch decks. I'll put the link below, and how I found that I think for a female founder, especially when we're not getting access to any money anywhere, I find them an absolute drain of time and energy. You could literally be spending all day, every day, tweaking a pitch deck. And for me, I just think, what's the point in this? This is an absolute waste of time. However, across the board, it doesn't matter if I'm following VCs on Twitter, business angels on LinkedIn, everywhere you look, including the All Raise application, it was, give us a link to your pitch deck. And it's like, for the love of God, why are we still doing pitch decks? But we are. And I think there'll come a time where women, I honestly think female founders will turn around and say, I have better things to do with my time than create a pitch deck. But the pitch deck concept is, and I've done this in prior videos, the pitch deck concept is basically to tell a story. So unless you're brilliant at graphics and you're absolutely amazing at telling a story, your pitch deck is never going to be good enough, never. So I've done a pitch deck. It's as good as it's going to get. I put it into an online kind of pitch deck review process. It was a freebie that I got, and I got it from, I think it was DocSend. Again, I'll look that and pop the details below. And basically what they do is they review your pitch deck and they tell you what they think. And they don't tell you about your business or your concept or your idea, but they talk about how many slides you've got on it, and have you discussed problem, solution, team, metrics such as maybe traction or your ask, what you're asking for, blah, blah, blah. So I threw my pitch deck into them, and it came back scoring 61%, which obviously is not that great. And I looked at the comments and the replies they gave, and they give you some advice on what you can do. Now, whether that's a copy and paste job for them or whether they actually genuinely read my pitch deck, I don't really know. But if it's machine learning and they've just whacked in, you know, standard response, fair enough. But actually what they put as the here's what you can do to make this better was actually quite good. And it was things like, you didn't write enough about yourself. I write enough. When I look at my pitch deck, I didn't put that I'm a certified master personal trainer, that I've been personally training hundreds of women over the last decade. I didn't put that I was, I think I put a chartered banker, but I didn't put that I was, you know, 12 years experience in corporate banking, business banking, and I understood about lending and P&Ls and balance sheets, and I understand business. I can see that I didn't put that. So that was a really good piece of feedback. And the second bit was, what is the actual product? And this was really interesting because, of course, when you are knee deep in the trenches dealing with your business, maybe the basic bits you're missing, like what is Fitmama? What is it actually doing? You know, to say it's a digital platform for mums who work, what does that actually tell you? So I kind of thought, yeah, that's maybe a really good point. Maybe I need to spell it out. It's fitness videos, it's personal training online, it's food planners, diary, food diary analysis, it's nutrition advice, especially for breastfeeding mums, it's mental wellness, return to work strategies, anything from baby blues to postpartum depression, advice, recommendation, links, support, things like that. And overarching all of that is a community of working mums. Okay, so I've maybe completely missed putting all of that detail in, so that's something I'm going to work on as well. So anyway, I was telling the board about this, and I was saying, look, I'm not going to waste any more time on pitch decks, but I will tweak the existing slides to make sure I'm covering off the advice I got from, I think it was DocSend. I'll tweak it to take on board what they've said, because they've seen hundreds and thousands of pitch decks, so why not take their advice? And beyond that, we're done. I'm not going back to pitch deck analysis at all. I'm absolutely done and dusted with it. So that's one thing. Second thing is our financial decks are ready, our financial modelling is ready. There's nothing else I'm going to tweak with that. Business plan narrative, I am going to add a pre-COVID and a post-COVID, because one of our business verticals is business licenses for Fitmama classes local. So, you know, you can find your local Fitmama fitness class in your local community centre or wherever. And that was a vertical that I wanted to put out because that ticks the box really a lot for community, and that's actually where Fitmama started. It started off as a face-to-face fitness class. However, I'm going to, you know, put a little square around that complete channel, because I'm going to just say this is a pre-COVID idea, which is absolutely needed, but in a COVID world and post-COVID world where we might be mask-driven or restrictions on numbers meeting or fitness facilities, you know, closed temporarily, it might just not be practical. So I'm going to just work out how to do that and keep it in the business plan, but tweak it a little bit and take anything in the financials. I don't think the financials include the classes, but take anything in the financials kind of out, or again, put shade around them just to say, look, we think this is a good idea for business, but we just want to make sure that we are aware that at the moment, people meeting face-to-face is highly unlikely. And then the investors list is the next part. Okay, so basically my treasurer on the board asked me, you know, where are you creating this list from? Now, traditionally you would do a friends and family round, and I was really honest with the board and said, I just get the distinct impression that my friends and family are completely fatigued listening to Fitmama, because Fitmama has been kicking around in my life since 2010, whether it be a face-to-face class, bringing clients gradually on board, minimum viable products to get us to where we are. And I honestly, genuinely believe that my friends and family are now like, what are you doing with Fitmama? What is it actually about? Is it time to get a real job? What are you doing? And I honestly I feel like I would take it so personally, or so personal, reaching out to a friends and family list and to get knockbacks. I would rather go to complete strangers for small checks of 2K, 3K, 4K. I really would. I don't think I've got the strength to go out to a friends and family list and say, guys, I'm now ready, because I think they would honestly be like, what are you doing? So I don't really want to do that. So in all honesty, now I've listened to loads and loads of podcasts of founders, and I'm going to get his name wrong, but Casey Nascent, I think it is. I listened to a podcast he had done on how I built this, and he basically said he could not do a friends and family round for the reasons I've just given. He could not stomach reaching out to a friends and family list with the potential that they might lose their money. I'm not worried about losing money part, because I think the business has already proven itself that it's a viable product and we're ready to go. So I'm not worried about the losing money part at all. I don't think we will. I'm worried about the asking part. So I'm just going to cut that one out entirely. So I told my board that, and they were quite comfortable with that. Where am I getting the investors list? Okay, so I started probably about 6 months ago creating lists on HubSpot. And I went on there to use that as a CRM system. And then actually last week I was like, forget this. I'm going to use plain old Google Sheets, and I'm going to set this up on Google Sheets so that I can then share it with my team, the board team. And if anybody wants to add names, etc., they can do that. Now, what have I been doing? I've been compiling potential investors, business angels, and VCs, names and lists, predominantly on Twitter and LinkedIn forever. So that's where I'm going to first and foremost. And in all honesty, it's going to be cold emailing from day one. I have probably got about 20 or so warm connections that I'm going to send a forwarding email to. And the rest of the potential investors are going to be cold emails. And again, it's going to be an intro with the potential of forwarding on. Okay, so let me explain. A forwarding email is an email that's worded well enough that that person who receives it can read it, make the decision, do I want to invest in this or not? And there will be an option on the bottom. Perhaps you worded something like, perhaps this isn't for you, but do you know somebody that might be interested? I would like to be introduced to them, or for discretion, you can forward this email on. So there's nothing super personal in the email to say, hi, how's your daughter, you know, getting on at school in 2nd grade or whatever. You're not going to that level of detail of personalizing it, because that person might forward that on to a group of people they know, or it could be 2 degrees away. It could be, I'm in a network, I'm going to send it to the network on their list. You never know, somebody in the network might pick this up. So you want it personalized enough that it is a warm email, you're actually reaching somebody you know, and the ability for them then to reply to that and then to forward that on. Now there will be options within this email, and in the email there will be click into the web page, which is password protected, on the fitmama.io website, and that then gives them an option to read the story so far, where we've started, where we are now, and then a contact me form at the bottom to get further information. So that's quite an easy way for them to get access to information without asking for it. There will also be a link to Fitmama Investor Data Room 1. And Data Room 1 will give a pitch deck, link to a pitch deck, and it will give a brief summary of who I am, and it will also talk about potential investors club. Here's the investors club, and here's what we are looking to do and bring people into the investors club with small checks. So they will have a link to the website with the password. They will have a link to a data room set up in Google, a Google Drive, which will give them access to 2 or 3 different papers that don't give too much information, but give enough to whet their appetite and to ask for more. And the third thing is, keep me informed. And that's an opt-in to a mailing list for investors. And that means I'm then starting to collect emails legitimately that I can then start to send out updates. So as well as doing video updates here, I can also personally send emails out and a newsletter to say, here's where we are today, here's what we're doing now. So that's the first thing. Now, cold emailing to people who do not know who I am, it will have the same format, but it will be a brief introduction for me. It will then go into, I would like to hear from you, do you have any time in your diary? It will ask for time so that you can then introduce more and then give more information. And then from there, the link to the website page only. Now, the reason I'm not doing a pitch deck in that one, and the reason I'm not doing an opt-in, the reason I'm not doing a pitch deck or a Gmail, a Google Drive, link, is purely because maybe they will take 30 seconds to read it and go delete, not interested. And I don't want to send too much information. If they've got to click on 5 different things and they don't even know who I am and they've just randomly got an email, the likelihood of them clicking on anything is almost zero. And I just don't, I'm out of respect, I just don't want to do that. So the first thing I will do is send them the link to the website, which is password protected, and then I will send them an opt-in. I'm interested to keep in touch with you to find out more. Let me know when you've got either a lead investor or, give me more information, something like that. So they will get 2 things. And again, this email will be a forwardable email, so they can forward it on to their network. And that's the ask that comes into it. Your first ask is, do you want to know more information about my business because you potentially want to invest? And the second thing is, if this is not for you, can you please introduce me to others, because I am a female founder with a very limited network, and see what that comes up with. So that's what I'm doing. Once I data mine, if you like, my Twitter connections first, and I have a look and see who I've been following, what their chat is, if they're business angels, they're interested in Fem-Tech, they're US driven, then I will go in and I will know a little bit more about them, because I'll be able to read whatever's out there in the public domain, get that into an email and then send it to them. Every email will be tweaked to make sure that it is personalized, but obviously there'll be chunks of it that are standard. Here is the standard bit, next steps, here's what I'd like you to do, things like that. On the call with All Raise, the seed bootcamp, one of the founders who raised money had set up 20 meetings every single week for 4 months, and that is how she was able to raise her funding. I don't know what funnel you would have to score 20 meetings, but even if it's 2%, 3%, 4% of your connections that you're making, you can see the volume that you need to be going into the top of the funnel of how many people you're connecting to filter through to potentially get 20, 30 meetings per week. I mean, this is a full-time job. This is a full-time job. So let's do it, I guess. So that's the investors part of it. That's what I'm planning on doing now, and that's the next steps for Fitmama. In terms of building out the app, I have done a prototype model on using Marvel, and that was fantastic, super easy to use, and really gave a nice little journey of the initial, you know, app, what does it look like? What do you click on? Where does it take you? What does that give you next, etc. And I was able to then send a link out to 5 or 6 different people to say, can you play around with this and tell me what you think? This is for the purposes of investors. This is not for the purposes of what does it look like as a user. It's more to show an investor, and got really good feedback. One piece of feedback that stuck was that the logo for Fitmama is a little bit dated now. And actually I looked at it and I was like, God, I've been thinking that for quite a while. I'm kind of sick of seeing this woman with the pram, you know, so I think the logo change might happen quite soon. Least of my worries, but you know, that was good feedback to get. And then apart from that, everything else was really quite cool. It was really nice. So that's really encouraging. Ready to move forward. Okay, so reading room, what is happening in the world in terms of the fitness industry, in terms of fitness apps, hardware, you know, fit tech wearables, and then in Fem-Tech. So here are the headlines. The fitness industry is absolutely on its arse. Can't say it any other way. Because gyms, studios, fitness places have all pretty much across the board closed down, or they've reopened with minimum number of clients allowed in, you are finding that people are just staying at home. Now, my own personal training clients that I have, I moved a lot of them online, but a lot of them are still on work from home remits. So even if I said to them, I can meet you back at the gym again, let's go and do some face-to-face workouts, the response is, yeah, nah, not so much. I'm working from home, or I'm now, you know, I traveled to go and live with my boyfriend, partner, significant other. So I'm now with them, and you know, I'm not actually local anymore. So let's continue with Zoom or Telegram. I've got groups on Telegram. So that's been an interesting shift, and I have no idea when that's going to pivot round again and when people will start going back to the gyms. I don't know. The diehards who need weights and who are doing weight training obviously are going back to the gym as soon as possible. But those who are doing cardio-based or classes, they're finding their selection online phenomenal. A peer-to-peer kind of mentor of mine, she is doing her online, she's now been able to rejoin her old fitness studio completely because she lives geographically too far away, she can't physically go. Anyway, but she is like, oh my God, thank God I can go back to this class again online because all of the sessions are online. So I think online or a hybrid or a blend is going to be the way forward. So Fitmama is really well placed for that. Second thing, fit tech in the last 6 months has been amazing to see. Oh, it's been absolutely amazing. So you've now got Apple Fitness Plus that's come out. And I have to say, even though Apple are massive and, you know, their market share is, you know, you can't deny it, I don't know who's going to be picking up this product, because you get such amazing competitors who have been in the game a lot longer than Apple have for a live streaming fitness option. I don't really know who's going to be using Fitness Plus. I think the monthly subscription will work out about $10 to $15 per month. And you have your family there. It's all driven by an Apple Watch. So if you don't have the Apple Watch, you can't really take part. So your Apple Watch becomes your fit tech wearable, okay? Now you can go and get other wearables for $40, $50, $60. You're not having to spend hundreds on the latest Apple iWatch. I've never bought into the iWatch ever. I've never bought into the concept. I cannot think of anything worse than having the watch. I honestly don't. I just think it's a gadget that I just would not ever buy. So I'm maybe not the target demographic anyway, or the target audience. However, looking at everything you can do with it, it does look amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I read the reports and looked at the announcement, and I thought, wow, that looks really cool. And it gives you as much information as you could ever want. And I have to turn around and say, yet again, you could be collecting that data and having all of your oxygen levels collected, you know, all that data collected. But unless that app tells you what it actually means and what you can do to improve or change or adapt, what is the point in collecting that data? And I don't see anything yet that tells you what you're doing with that data. I might be wrong because I'm not using it, but I just don't see what else it's telling you. Another app that I came across that's been out for a long, long time is called Whoop. They have got this really good bracelet that you can wear, and they are, or watch, whatever you want to call it, and they are able to track everything from your sleeping, your alcohol consumption, your recovery rates. And I read a really cool article from an athlete, female athlete, who had gone and used Whoop obviously before, and then she was using it during her pregnancy. So she was actually able to track what the hell is going on in her body during pregnancy, and she was able to educate herself on how to change and adapt and understand what the statistics meant when you're carrying a child. So your heart rate, you want it to be lower, for an example, during pregnancy. So she was able to track all of that, not using it postpartum, but I love the fact she was using it during pregnancy. I thought that was an amazing use of tech for her, because she obviously is really keen to keep up her fitness, still work out, and make sure she's safe and healthy and doing the correct workouts for her and her baby in the womb at the time. Postpartum, I didn't see a pivot to that. I didn't see anything that was telling you what to do postpartum. Came across another company who are doing menstrual cycle tracking called Fitter Women, and I thought that app was amazing. But they are definitely in MVP stage. They are definitely looking at where do we take this and what do we do? And again, they're dealing with female athletes, and the company behind it is called Areco. Fantastic company and fantastic bit of Fem-Tech. Again, it's in its first stage, so these guys will definitely come through with more. But what they're doing is they're tracking the menstrual cycle, and they are saying, you know, they've split it into 4 phases, and they're telling you during this phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, whatever, you're in the luteal phase of your menstrual cycle, so you should be doing this type of workout, eating this type of food, and doing this type of mental wellness. Again, they don't give, they tell you what you could be doing and should be doing, but they don't actually give fitness videos or workouts or here's your nutritional plan or personalized. That will surely be the next step for them, I would imagine. And then what else? Nothing else really that I can say. My Zone, I've been kicking about for a while, and that's fitness tech, but they are they're brilliant because they can then do filming live that you can dial into, watch the fitness workouts, do the workouts, and then you go on to like a leaderboard. So if you're quite competitive, that would be really good for you. Or if you just want to track where you are and comparable to, you know, same women elsewhere in another country, and you want to be on a leaderboard, then that would be good for you. There was another company I came across that looked fantastic. I can't remember them off the top of my head, so I'll leave that one. Fem-Tech, same people are out there, but you're starting to see money going their way. So Evie, for example, have just done a raise. I can't remember the exact amount, but let's say 55 mil or something like that. They've just done a raise, and their raise was done through debt. They did a debt raise via, again, I'm going to say HSBC UK. I might be wrong, but I think it was them. And they did a raise, and their raise is debt-based rather than going down VC route. And Evie is an app that is for pelvic floor exercises, which is a critical area actually for women postpartum and without carrying a child as well, but especially after carrying a child. So again, they're raising money. So Fem-Tech out there, the Fem-Tech side is not as, you know, out there and splashy as the Fit-Tech area is at the moment, but Fit-Tech has had to evolve and pivot and move really quickly because of the confinement, whereas Fem-Tech can take its time. Women have had their periods for, you know, since the day of dawn. So the dawn of day rather. So we've got time to work on Fem-Tech. The Fit-Tech had to pivot really quickly because we've now got all of these people working from home and not using gyms. So all in all, the looking around the world and looking at what's happening, Fitmama is in a really, really good place. We are the right product at the right time. There's market fit, there's market demand. We've just now got to build. Next part. Okay, so the building of the app. What do we want to include in the app? Quite a lot of different things, which I'm not going to discuss. But I've got a very clear idea of desires, wants, and needs of clients. How? Because I ask my clients constantly. I've got repeat clients that I can go to in 2 seconds and send a message and say, can I get 5 minutes of your time? I'm looking for input. What exactly are you looking for? So using that information, using my own experience, and using my knowledge of the industry for the since 2010, I'm fairly comfortable with what is it we're trying to build. Listened to an amazing podcast, again, How I Built This. It's like my top favorite amazing podcast, and I listened to them, and the interview was Calendly, and they were talking about how much money had been raised, and in total Calendly has raised circa $500,000. That's it. They needed 250k to build the app, and they used a company called Railsware, which is based in the Ukraine, and they built out the app. 250k all in, and that is what Calendly still is. I think they raised a second round, which would be this other 250k, as just in case money in the bank, just in case. And they are looking to projecting a profit this year, profit of 60 million, 60 mil. So clearly, this is the case study that I want to replicate for Fitmama. If we could raise 250k to build out an app, do testing, get that out, and get it into the B2B space. B2B space is relationships. B2B space does not require heavy marketing and advertising because it is genuinely relationship driven. You are contacting executives and HR team people to say your workplace wellness benefits could be greatly enhanced if you added Fitmama to your deck. Here's what we have, here's what we've built out, we'd like to have this in your company. That is a relationship driven question. That is not ads on TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest. These are specific relationship building, and I think that's where we will go first. Our first vertical will be B2B, B2C will be an absolute obvious second channel. So that's basically the next step, is to engage again. Now, I did this episode or this whole thing in February, where I spoke to about 4 or 5 different tech developers, app developers, and none of them could give me a number. None of them were willing to say it'll cost 250k or whatever. And now that I'm getting a bit more comfortable with tech terms and comfortable with how to do raises and what I'm trying to raise for and what I'm trying to build, I'm really, I'm delighted that already Railsware were able to come back and say, this is a rough idea of how much this would cost. And I'm like, great, this is fresh and new approach, because they're actually given numbers. Now, whether these numbers are realistic, once we get into the project, I don't really know, and that's okay. But in order to build out robust and realistic financial modeling, you need to have a rough idea of how much your build is going to cost. So it's really important for these developing companies to actually say, look, I know for a fact, because we've got tons of experience and we've built loads of apps, this is how much it's going to cost to get you from A to B. Would you be happy at position B in a year's time? Yes, I would. Great. Here's how much it's going to cost. I don't think that's too much to ask. I really don't. So this company, I have a meeting booked with them for next week, and we will go through what it is that Fitmama is trying to achieve, what we want to do, and then how do we start this process. The fact that they built Calendly for me is just absolutely amazing, because I love that whole concept, and that case study is fantastic. And to raise 250k and get your product to market immediately just is exactly what Fitmama should be aiming to do, rather than to go into this with a view of, okay, in 18 months time we need to do a second raise because we want to do whatever. I'm not saying we won't raise again, but it would be interesting to just go straight into one raise of 250k, get that money in, start to build up revenue, and use that revenue to then build out a marketing plan or to build out the next part of the maybe the live streaming classes, things like that. So that's where I am. That's where we are with FitMama. Really exciting stuff now, and actually really champing at the bit to get out there and just to put the company out there and say, okay, invest, please. So my ask, as always, is if you know of any investors, small checks are welcome. And what we mean by small checks is anything under 5K would be welcome. And just if you know of investors, or you are like, okay, I like who she is, I like her business concept, I'd quite like to find out a bit more, then reach out. The email address to send any inquiries to will be noted below in the box, and just reach out and say, yeah, interested to find out more, and would be interested to get a hold of some potential investor details, and add me to your investors newsletter, and we'll take it from there. As always, if you have any questions or you want to find out a little bit more about the product or my background or what it is that we're trying to raise for, then please just reach out. I'm more than happy to be as transparent, honest and open as possible. I think the more female founders that are doing this and are actually saying, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to do it, and these are the steps, are helping anybody that's one step behind us, and helping them to pull them along. So if there's anybody that's starting up in business and would like to understand a little bit more how I started doing the financial modeling, or what did I put in my business plan narrative, what does my pitch deck look like, exec summary, the investors page that's password protected, all of these things, if there's anything you need to know, then please do reach out. I'm more than happy to share and to help. That's about it. If there's any inquiries, please let me know. Apart from that, thank you very much for your time, and see you next time. Bye.